Welcome to Enter the Rift Podcast 2024 Halloween Special. I'm your host, Kenny, and joining me is Garrett.
Yo!
And today, on this episode, we are actually going to be talking about our own personal paranormal experiences.
All right, so do you want to go first? I feel like we're in an AA meeting. Hello, my name's Garrett, and this is my paranormal encounter.
Yeah, sure. I can start with something that I saw. So this happened. I was, I would say maybe, I don't know, 12 or 13, fairly young. And this is back when Garrett and I used to share a room together in bunk beds. I was on the bottom bunk. We always used to sleep with the TV on for light and sound to help us fall asleep. And one night, I'm not too sure if I woke up or I haven't quite fallen asleep yet, but it was fairly late. And I remember waking up with just this feeling of something not being right. There was like...
And the George Lopez theme song was playing, and it was Free 30, Free AM. Oh.
It was all distorted. But after I realized something wasn't right, I started looking around, and then my eyes kind of landed on it, and it was this black blob-like thing that was darker than the whole room around it. It was like he took a shadow and just like made it like even more dark, like it contrasted with everything even more. It was like blacker than black.
Like the kind of what you always hear with like the shadow people stories,
yes.
Right?
Yeah, exactly like that. It was exactly like that, except this was, instead of the one that had a more defined human silhouette, this one was more of just like a blob, which apparently a lot of people actually see things like that. It's not just the, perfect silhouettes that people see of shadow people, which I've now learned from doing research on the show.
Yeah, just an amorphous kind of darker than dark blob.
Right. And it was like a blob that I would say would be around 3.5 feet tall. It wasn't huge, but it was pretty big. And it had glowing red eyes. They weren't just like a round eye. It was more like a
almond,
like an almond shape. Yeah. Like a tilted almond shape that was glowing red. And I just remember being like petrified when I saw it. I couldn't look anywhere else. I was absolutely terrified when I saw it. I was so afraid to move. And I'm not sure how much time passed when I was just looking at this thing and it was looking back at me. And there wasn't any kind of confusion of whether or not it was looking at me. No, I knew 100% it was staring right at me. And after a certain amount of time passed, I just started to pray. That was the only thing I could think to do. And after that, it finally went away. And then I was just, for the rest of the night, I was super scared. I didn't fall asleep until almost dawn. And then I woke up, and when it was light out. But that was super terrifying. Like, I just remember there wasn't really any noise. It was just like the noise or the hum from the TV. And because we had one of those older TVs. This was
like a 13-inch CRT TV. I think it was like a RCA. Yeah. It was like I wish we still had it, because I kind of wish I had that just for playing like Super Nintendo and stuff still. But
yeah.
So if anybody has a 13-inch RCA CRT monitor from 1990 something, that would be really nice. I would like to have a listing for that. Give me an offer.
Nice. But yeah, so I remember that. But just the waking up, and you didn't see anything wrong at first, but you already knew something was wrong. There was just a perverse feeling of wrongness. Like something wasn't right.
Yeah.
And I looked over.
Yeah, like same situation with almost all of my stories from that time when we were growing up, and that, well, we refer to it as the shithole for a reason. But growing up in that so single wide trailer, yeah, kind of a lot of reoccurring themes that, well, y'all are going to hear about obviously in this special. But yeah, so I know exactly what you mean by the overwhelming, like, prevailing feeling of just dread and wrongness.
Yeah.
But
yes.
Yeah, continue.
And so yeah, and thankfully it did go away, and I was able to get some rest. I guess for a little bit more backstory, I don't believe the trailer itself that we lived in was haunted or anything like that. I think the land we lived on was the issue.
Yeah, there was just like a lot that went wrong. Like, so back when our grandma was alive, and like was like praying over the ground constantly, we didn't have any problems. But once she went and there was nobody praying over the ground, it went weird real quick.
Yeah, things after that happened, weird things have started happening with increasing frequency.
And it sometimes very intense.
Yeah. There was a spring, like a natural spring on the ground. I don't know if that contributed to anything, because I know some people say,
like, ley lines,
whether there's a spring or anything like that. Springs can be like portals, you know.
It's them little fairy gnomes. They're coming over the border into our realm, and they're over here stealing our jobs.
Oh my god.
It's them illegal immigrants from another dimensions.
Yes, people are illegally immigrating from the Feywild.
Yeah, they're coming in from the fourth dimension.
Oh my god.
They're coming up for the well. That's why it tastes funny now. It's their dirty feet.
Oh my god.
That does play into it later, though. The well water went sour.
It did, which was really weird. See, another time, this one, it's not nearly as scary, but our clothes dresser used to be right below the light switch in our room. And I was already laying in bed getting ready to go to sleep. And I asked Garrett, hey, I'm like, hey, you're already up. Can you turn the lights off? And he's like, yeah, cool. And I remember vividly, he reached over, was getting ready to turn off the light. And we had a cheap $3 like plastic canteen sitting on top of the dresser. And his hand was 1.5 feet, 2 feet away from it.
Yeah, something like that. I remember this.
Yeah, and the canteen just went like, and launched itself at me. And it was crazy because he did not pick it up and throw it at me. He did not bat it with his hand. He wasn't even close. And we both, after it just flew right at me, on its like almost of its own accord, I just remember we looked at each other and we're like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, that was an odd moment because I believe I was still walking towards it, and like my arm was out, but I haven't got quite close enough to hit the switch, or even like I wasn't even. If I'm remembering right, I was okay. Door would be on my left. I'm standing right side facing Kenny, and I'm about to lean over, but I gotta take like a step and a half more to even reach the switch. So I'm not even like to where I can grab the canteen. And it just went flying. And I believe a picture frame also fell off at the same time. Or that might have been two separate occurrences.
No, that was a separate occurrence. And it wasn't like a picture frame you with the nail or like the little backer fails. It just drops straight down, right? Where I was at the time in our living room, we had like a love seat that I was sitting on, and you could see clearly back the hallway. And we had a picture on the wall, and the picture, it didn't just fall. It popped off the wall, went directly into the center of the hallway, stood there for a second, and then fell straight down. Nothing hit the side of the house. Nothing, nothing was connected with fishing line. I was the only one home that day, so I'm not trying to prank myself. It was just crazy. It was so weird and just unexplained. It was just or I don't even remember what the picture was, like what the picture looked like or anything. But
or who it was, or if it was a person or what.
Yeah, I don't remember any of that.
Oh yeah, for clarification for the audience, I am 2 years younger than Kenny. So when he's recounting stories, when he's like, 5 and 6, just like for clarification, if I get something wrong, there's a reason. It's because, I was still more concerned about watching Barney and Boobas and like Teletubbies at the time. So,
but yeah, that was just very, very weird. That's the first and only time anything like that I've seen. So that was pretty odd. Another experience that I had there, this one's a little bit lighter, and I actually think this one was kind of cool. So I was just chilling in my room, not doing anything really, just watching TV, or I might have been reading a book or something.
Yeah, Kenny was a bit of the bookworm when he was a kid. It still is. But, not so much anymore, but you were always reading a book, like sitting crisscross on your bed.
Yeah. But at the time this happened, I thought it was so neat. It was just like a bunch of these like golden orbs kind of appeared in the room, and there was like dozens of them, and they were just kind of like floating, kind of like bobbing up and down, swifting like I don't know, like bubbles on the wind or something like that, except there was no wind in the room. And there was just like this weird feeling of just like peacefulness and calmness, and it lasted maybe 30-45 seconds, and it was really cool.
And little does Kenny know he was about to be abducted by the Fae.
Well, maybe I touched something that was made of cold iron and just cut that shit out real fast.
Excuse me? You have scoliosis.
Cold iron?
You're not cold iron, homie. You have scoliosis.
I don't have any implants. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, I'm made of steel. I can't lift very heavy though because my back.
I said maybe I touched something.
Well, your mic cut out, so I didn't hear that.
Oh my gosh.
I heard it. Yeah. Maybe I'm just like cold iron. Is what I heard.
Oh my God.
Just oh yeah, brother. I am cold iron. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's just like, but don't look at my medical record because it's really bad.
Oh my God.
Kenny was a sick child.
Yes, I guess I was.
Yeah. He had scarlet fever.
Yeah, that's not fun. Don't recommend it.
Yeah, no. Or the spinal taps.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those orbs you saw, that's just because you were recovering from the spinal taps.
That wasn't even close to
I know.
That was. Oh my God. God.
I gotta be a dickhead every once in a while. It's fun.
Oh my gosh. But I'm not the only one that's had any kind of weird paranormal experience now, am I?
No. And mine are bad.
Yeah, I had like some bad ones there and like some good ones, but Garrett's had a lot of like runs that were pretty rough.
Yeah, none of mine were pleasant. All mine were what the kids are calling traumatizing.
What the kids are calling.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so mine mostly involved sleep paralysis and waking up with scratches on my back.
Yeah.
I remember waking up with red marks, like a ring around my neck at one point, and I granted, I don't know, I slept in contorted weird little balls like all the time. Like I was like, well, not as bad as you. So I'll start with the sleep paralysis ones. When I was younger, I was terrified of the dark and would mostly because like I was seeing creepy shit. Is the easiest way to put it. But so I would run to our parents' room and I would usually crawl in bed with them, or later on when I was sleeping on the top bunk, had about the same experiences, just a little worse when I was by myself. Well, I mean, you were in the room, you were just below me, but that don't count because I can't see you, and I'm a kid. So I remember waking up one night, and so in our parents' room, they had a painting of our like dogs, which they're both mutts, so can't really give you a good description of what they look like. Other than one was like a Frenchie mix, so he was like tiny as shit, but had like pointed, clipped ears. So this will play into the story. That's why I'm going with this. But the other one was like, what was Timber, like a some kind of lab? The hell was she?
I'm not too sure.
I don't know. Black mutt. So like, both the dogs were black. So the painting, of course, you got vague outline of dog because it's dark. So, but there's like enough light coming off of like, again, either old TV or whatever it was at the time. May have been one of Dad's numerous alarm clocks that were LED, so glowing the room, because he had like 3 alarm clocks because I don't know, didn't want to be late. But I like vividly remember these freaking alarm clocks. I think they still have them, to be honest. But so like that's what's lighting the room. It's just like old 80s, alarm clock, red glow throughout the room. I look up, like just with my eyes, can't really move, and I just see the painting, because it's like at an angle to where if your back's propped up with some pillows and you happen to be like 3 foot tall, because again, small child, I don't even remember how old I was at this time, so like spitballing, definitely before like school. So like I never had a pre-K, so this was, I just went straight into kindergarten. So I'm gonna say, how old's pre-K age?
Like 4 years old.
Okay, yeah, let's shoot for 4, and let's call it that. But I remember waking up, the painting's like the first thing I see, because like the way I'm laying, and I remember seeing like like the dogs and stuff, and I'm like just waking up. I'm also a kid, so I'm like, oh, it's dark out, and the painting just for some reason like really like drawed me in. For some reason I was just like staring at it like intently. Like I didn't know why I was, but something just felt wrong. Kind of like Kenny mentioned before, something just felt really wrong. And the more I looked at it, the more wrong it felt. And eventually I remember seeing, like a shadow is cast, like it starts to grow, like the length deal. Like it looks like it's like stretching.
Yeah.
It looked like the dogs were stretching, but all I remember seeing is like the head turn, but like it looked 3-dimensional, even though it was a shadow. It was just dark, and it looked like it started to like come past the edge of the painting, but still like a shadow clinging to the wall, which was weird. So because it didn't have like depth, but it looked like it was casting like a 3-dimensional shadow, which is really weird. I don't know how to describe this other than just imagine like, I want to say like you ever seen like the framework for a sprite in a video game before it gets like the skin put on it, like the actual like coloring and depth? It's just kind of like polygon shaped, just like the wire, the framework. Imagine that, but like had like a tint over the whole thing that was just black. That's how I could best describe this. I'm not really good at painting the picture of how this looks. Painting the picture. It came out of a painting. Womp womp. But I remember it looked creepy as shit. Imagine like a fox-eared humanoid, like on top of its head. Like so, like imagine like, if you will, a like benzodiazepine trip with like a bad shadow people experience, but it was like an anime girl with fox ears on top of its head.
Oh my god.
Except, it's not an anime thing. It's just like that silhouette of like the weird freaking hairband with like the ears on top, but it's humanoid. So just creepy shit. And I remember seeing that thing, and its eyes were like yellow, orange, red kind of ish. Kind of had like a gradient effect to it. Weren't glowing, but it wasn't like eye shine either. It was just like you could see the color even though the rest was dark. Best way I can put it. And I remember just looking at it and being like totally terrified, couldn't move. And then eventually I either was able, because I'm trying to remember this shit. I'm 4 years old. So like this is like a memory of a memory kind of situation. I remember just kind of like maybe eventually being able to like roll over to like one of our parents and just like burying my face in like their back, and then that's it. I was out cold again. Yeah, so that's the earliest creepy memory I have.
Yeah. That doesn't sound like a very fun time, especially as a small kid.
Yeah, no, not at all. Especially when you're just like, why the shadow is moving and it's creepy. But yeah, so that's my earliest, I guess you would say, paranormal. Again, this could just be child's imagination. It's dark, it's scary. Ooh, you know.
Yeah.
But you could also argue, is it a child's imagination or a child's innocence being able to see stuff that's not quite innocent? Because everybody says about how they saw creepy shit when everybody was a kid at one point, and every kid has had the monster at the edge of the bed experience at some point. Everybody has had some kind of creepy, they think they see a monster at night when they're a kid.
Yeah.
So it's like, is it that children are innocent and therefore can perceive evil spirits? Or is it, like, just, imagination? I don't know what to tell you, little dude. Like, quit shitting yourself.
Yeah.
It's not that scary. Calm down.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So later on, after that one, I remember at some point, okay, so I believe this is before we switched rooms. Obviously, this is just for me to paint the time and, area for Kenny, because y'all don't know how the rooms are laid out or which one we were in. But but before we switched rooms, I remember at some point, so okay, this is a trailer built in, what was it, like 65? So
something like that.
Yeah, so trailers, not in the best shape. Trailers aren't made to last for that damn long. So we had the closet doors that you kind of slid on a track, kind of like the Japanese style doors, except the the wheels and casters are long gone at this point, and it's just like wood on wood. So it's kind of shit. Not gonna lie, kind of shit. It made a lot of noise, and this is gonna play into it. So you just take two pieces of wood and rub them shits together. There's gonna be some noise. So I remember the way how the room was laid out. The bunk bed was against the closet door because it was a sliding door. So, we only opened up one side, but there was two of them that would cross over each other. If you were facing the doors, left side was covered up because of the bed. And I'm on the top bunk, so I can still reach over and slide the door open from where I'm sitting and reach in the closet and pull stuff out. So I can get to the top shelf that way, and that's where I had some stuffed animals and stuff. But I remember waking up, looking down because I was asleep on my back, which was really weird for me at the time. I never slept on my back until now. I do, obviously, because getting older sucks and I have shoulder pain. But I remember looking and seeing the door open with no sound, which was freaky as shit, and I couldn't move. Again, probably a sleep paralysis experience. And I remember seeing just long, spindly gray, like ash gray. So cigarette ash gray, like that weird kind of stained, dirty ash gray.
Right.
Fingers come from around the corner of the door and just grip the edge of the door. Just long spindly fingers just grip it, and that's the last shit I remember from that experience. So, and we didn't have internet. We didn't even have cable for a good chunk of our childhood. So, yeah, I would describe this as a pail crawler or a rake kind of thing. But again, we didn't have internet. So, this was 2002, 2001, something like that. Or no, this would have been after. This was 2003, 2004, something around there, if I'm remembering right. Yeah, I think that's right around right time, maybe 2003, 2004. I remember seeing the creepy hand, and then I don't know, somehow fell back asleep. One of those things where you're so drained and tired, you look down, and then you're out again. It's just it was very quick. But I remember seeing that. It's very vivid in my mind still. So that was the second time, and this is around the time when I started waking up with like scratches on my back.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, I couldn't see my own back, but if I'm remembering right, there was like 3 of them in a line, just going like, I don't know, kind of longer than I would say, like the fingertip to like the heel of your hand, like adult hand, not a kid, obviously. But something around that length, so like on like 5 inches, like scratch, just like in a group of 3 on the middle of my back. And mind y'all, I was a fat child, so I couldn't reach. I wasn't that most flexible to be able to scratch my own back. So, it was. I want to say 3. Yeah, I want to say 3 lines, like to scratch. I can't remember really.
I'm pretty sure it was 3.
All I remember is waking up with scratches. Then one incident, I remember waking up like gasping for air, and I remember going to the bathroom and my throat being really red, like you know, like if you squeeze your arm for like a couple seconds and then let go, and it turns, you know, like, you know, the capillary refill for your blood vessels, you get that color. But this was like not going away, like strangulation marks. That also could have been just my dumb fat ass fell asleep with my arm across my neck face down.
Oh my gosh.
I remember that one like freaked mom out. She was like, why is your neck red?
Yeah.
And of course, more sleep paralysis the older I get. I only had one sleep paralysis experience as an adult, but I will get to that in linear fashion. There's only 2 more, I believe, incidents when we were kids living at the shithole, as we in the family call it. So we switched rooms with our parents, and so we were in the addition that was just made for our parents and stuff. We still had the bunk beds, but no ladder anymore. I don't know why we got rid of the ladder, but it was gone. And I had to climb onto a dresser and then climb up into bed. So there's no ladder. There's no guardrails or anything, which kind of bit me in the ass at one point because I did fall off and I landed on a metal toolbox. But that might be what's wrong with me. That and the numerous head injuries. But
oh my god.
Yeah. I remember waking up one night feeling absolutely off. Like it was just bad, and the windows were open, so there was light coming in. Not a lot, you know, like it wasn't like, you know, like daylight. It wasn't like early dawn either. It was like, I don't know, like 1 a.m. Let's just spitball it out there. Because, I don't know. But just to do it. So it was like 1 a.m, paint the picture. I wake up, something don't feel right. I look over, like I roll on my side, and I see about 4, maybe 3, 4 silhouettes of hooded looking figures that were dark. The room's like pitch black, but there's like a little bit of light coming through the window. So just enough for me to make out shapes. And I remember seeing like, I want to say 2 feet in front of my face, there looks like a hood. Like of a, like I can see like the top of the head and where it comes wider at the shoulders. And I can't see anything past that point because I'm on the top bunk. I see behind there, out of my peripheral vision, a couple more of them, but of course they're farther back, so I can see a little bit more. And I remember seeing one on the left side of his shoulder. There might be another one farther off to the side, but I couldn't really tell because I'm just like fixated on the one that's dead in front of me.
Right.
And I'm just like in that moment where I'm like trying to blink to adjust my eyes, and I'm like, what is that? I'm just like blinking at it, and that's when it hits me. I'm like, I think that's like something. So I remember doing what all little kids do, and you go, meh, make a weird noise, and you roll the hell over, and you cover your head with the blanket. So I remember just rolling over, blinking a couple times, seeing that, freaking out like silently, and just like kind of rolling around in bed and covering my head up. Yeah, eventually I fell asleep. So same figures again, different night. I remember waking up, and this was past when we had the bunk bed, so I'm now sleeping on a normal bed frame like a normal human, instead of climbing up without a ladder like a monkey, trying to get into my bed, and kicking shit off the top of the dresser when I'm trying to get down in the middle of the night to pee. So yeah, finally sleeping like a normal person instead of knocking crap down and hitting Kenny in the head with stuff while I'm trying to get off my bed or like stepping on him when he's like half hung out of his bed because he slept weird, and then I would get up in the middle of the night and then step on him. So sleeping again, normal person this time. And I'm on my side. I remember waking up, something doesn't feel right, rolling onto my back, and seeing those creepy cloaked shadow people, kind of silhouettes, just like one at the foot of the bed and one on each side of like the sides of my bed. And they're just like, it looks like they're staring down at me. Like, just imagine looking at somebody in a hoodie with their hood up and they're staring down at like their feet. And imagine, well, you're at their feet. So that's the silhouette and the view I got. And I remember just freezing up for a moment and then praying in my head. Just kept like praying in my head, and eventually I just closed my eyes and just wouldn't open them just till I fell asleep. Yeah, that was the last time I had sleep paralysis as a kid.
So you have had it as an adult, you said?
Yeah, and this was the worst one. This was the vivid, like tactile. So this wasn't just be what you would say like hypnagogic hallucination, because this was more like I had tactile feeling. I heard audible hallucinations and had like, visual. So I'm at my friend's house. I'm like 19, I want to say. For clarification, people, I do not drink or smoke marijuana until well after 21. So stone cold sober. I'm at my buddy's parents' house. I'm asleep on his couch. The light in his kitchen is on, which is, casting into the living room. And I'm asleep, on the couch. Normally, his cat would always be, this big old fat cat would always be laying on me somewhere, laying on my chest or my feet. I remember looking down, like, to see where the cat was, because I still felt like a weight on my chest. And by the time I did that, I could see, again, this is the long-fingered pale thing. I see a finger, like, I want to say up to, like, the first, like, knuckle on the hand. And, like, the other fingers were, like, wrapped up in a fist, like a pointer, like it's pointing. I see up to a wrist, like, just a long, I want to say, like 11-inch finger. And a big hand with, like, balled up, like, looks like dandy long leg fingers. Just imagine, like, big-ass, long, skinny, creepy-ass fingers on, like, a small hand. It's, like, balled up fingers trying to point. It's really creepy looking.
Yeah.
Imagine seeing an arm like that come from behind your head, point to the side with, like, it's coming from the right side, it's pointing to the left, so the arm is, like, the right arm. And it's pointing, and I just see the finger go, like pulled away to the side until, like, all I see is the fingertip. And the whole time I'm hearing just gibbering whispers, just creepy. It sounds like multiple people all talking in, like, an echoey room all at once, but it's quiet. So imagine just hearing, like, a bunch of, like, really fast talking, gibbery noises behind your head, but it sounds quiet but loud at the same time. Like, it's like a muted or muffled, but you can tell, like, it would be loud if you were in the room with it. So I hear like that. I see the finger starts to retract from, my vision. And by the way, I can't move. I'm trying to scream, but I can't because I'm, sleep paralysis. I'm shitting bricks at the moment. And all I feel is a sharp, as soon as the finger leaves, I feel a sharp stabbing pain in my ear, and, like, it's going into the center of my head.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so, like, all I could feel was, like, that sharp, pointy finger just being, like, driven through my ear hole and into my head. And that's when I started, like, screaming, at least trying to scream. It felt like I was screaming. Like, throat, like, like you scream and, like, you make your throat feel real raw.
Yeah.
I could feel like that, like your, I don't know, would that be like your vocal cords tearing or something? I feel like my voice, like, I'm about to lose my voice, like I'm screaming so loud. But I wake up, basically, and I'm like, oh man, his whole house is going to be up. They're all going to think, like, I'm getting stabbed down here, like I'm getting murdered. I'm super embarrassed and freaked out, because I'm like, okay, I'm fine. It was a nightmare. Like, it was just sleep paralysis. It's fine. And no one came downstairs. So I did not scream. It just like very vividly felt like I was.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so that's my last spooky experience, other than some other stuff that we maybe touch on later episodes. But yeah, that was my sleep paralysis experiences. Luckily, none since.
That's good. Because that does not sound like a very fun time.
Never had a good experience.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've never actually had a full-blown sleep paralysis experience like that. So I don't really know what that's like, but I imagine it's not fun at all.
Well, even the times where, like, I want to say, like, I may have not have seen something, but I felt like I could see something, like when I was really young, like with like the one I said, like I was blinking and I could like kind of like see like if like I'm trying to make out shapes. So, you know, when you're blinking to sleep out of your eyes, and like I saw like the 3 of them in the bunk bed. Just that feeling alone, like just the that sharp, like there's something right in front of my face, like immediate, like that jump. Imagine that, but just drawn out for like a extended period of time, and you can't move. Yeah,
that doesn't sound like very appealing.
Nah, I don't know how people like abuse freaking, you know,
Benadryl.
Yeah, Benadryl for shits and giggles and do that.
Yeah, I don't know how they.
I don't want to be banished to the shadow realm. Don't do that shit.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, I'm not looking to crush up and snort some Benadryl. I'm not looking to talk to the shadow people and gibber at the walls.
No, or feel all those thousands of spiders crawling over your skin and biting you.
Yeah, not pleasant. Nah, I'll pass.
Yeah, so we've both had some very crazy, or maybe not crazy, but unusual experiences. And this isn't even everything that we've really experienced, but we can't really say about everything, or else it would just be too long of a show. These were some of the more dramatic, I should say, events that we've experienced.
Yeah, mostly I would wrap all this up under the blanket term of the demonic encounters, other than like your weird orb story.
Yeah, because I don't think that was anything evil at all.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But yeah, my experiences were all what I would just call demonic.
Yeah, low-level entity, evil kind of shit.
Yeah, unclean spirit.
Yeah. If anyone out there has had any kind of paranormal experience or story and they would like to share it with us, that would be really cool. I would love to hear anyone's stories that they have experienced.
Yeah, and if anybody has an RCA monitor 13 inches from around 1994, let me know. I want that shit.
On the hunt.
Yeah. You wouldn't believe how much a CRT like TV, like a small one, costs nowadays. It's freaking nuts. Get on eBay real quick and look at that sometime. Anyways, though, I hope y'all enjoyed the stories.
I hope everyone has enjoyed listening to kind of some of our paranormal experiences. I know they're not as crazy as some people experience, where they're like seeing dogmen and things like that, but it's unusual to say the least. And I think a lot of it was really tied to that area where we were in at the time.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of Enter the Rift. If you've made it to this long in the show, thank you very much. It's very much appreciated. Please like and subscribe. Share this story with your friends. It is very much appreciated. Have a good night.
Peace.